Well, I had to go and clean out the mailbox. It's getting really stuffed. And I think this is all stuff that I ordered. But we will see. Because I'm always ordering stuff online. You know, if I need something, a particular item, I immediately just go on the phone and get it coming. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but he's really wrapped. I think I know, but it's just in a surprisingly big box. Yeah, really well wrapped. Way more than necessary. Okay, remember a while back I picked up another Nagasaki lamp, and you know, I've got about 3 of them now, but the one of them had a problem in the flame spreader was bent. Well, at the time I said, you know, it goes, the wick is around it and it spreads the flame out. Well, the one was damaged. And I said, well, I bet I can find another one. And I'm lucky that way. You know, eventually I find things like this. Here, why don't you play with this box? There might be something really good in there. You drag them tractor parts around that day. Ended up, I think, 10 bucks a piece. But great. You know, now I've got a spare. I generally, over time, will find the things that I need. You know, you just have to be patient. Now this, I know what this is. This is a glass lamp shade, you know, the chimney for an Aladdin lamp. Well, I've got a couple of those Aladdins. I got 2 horses here. Don't need, even 1 was too much. 2 is way too much. Here, take it now. That's cool. Take it out. So I won't open that, but that's what that is. Okay, and this is a pair of pants. There you go. Here, you want this? Could be something in there. These are more of the Carhartt BO1s. You know, they're the double front. Same as what I have on under these. You know, I wear these all the time. The Carhartts. These are the American-made ones. You know, it's the old style. But most of mine, I've got the brown, the Carhartt tan. I thought, well, okay, a box pair came up just my size, so I figured, oh, I'll get them. You know, they're not, I think they sell normally for like 50 bucks. But they're just a good, very good pair of pants. Now I just got to go and do the button modification, put the suspender buttons on and the knife pocket button that I always need. But that's good to have. Here, you play with them then. It'll interest you. How often do I get horse food in the mail? Never. I don't know why, you just bored them. Here, could be something in there. Here. Oh, it smells like something. Now this is something I have quite a little of this on hand, but I think what I had was thinner. I believe this is quite a little thicker. Yeah. It's sheets of brass, old brass. This guy said they've been on the shelf for like 40 years. But what I want to do is to make an axe sheath for this particular axe, and a couple other ones, my favorite axes. And I want to line the sheath with brass. You know, leather, but lined with brass. It's an old thing that I got out of one of the old Calvin Rutherford books. And I've got brass rivets. Yeah, with 2 big sheets, that'll do me a lot. I've got some more odds and ends of brass coming, and like I say, I've got a whole roll of really thin stuff. But I would sooner use this heavier stuff, because then, you know, if you get them in there and have it sandwiched and riveted, well then it wedges in there and it doesn't get down to the point where it can actually hit on the rivets and cut the rivets. But I'll go at that one of these days. But I wanted to make one particularly for this axe and a couple other axes that I use all the time. But this is that Kelly flint edge, you know, true temper. But it's a Kelly one that I had bought. The head came from an auction sale locally here. You know, that I got real cheap with a broken handle. And I put a Bowman handle on it. And it's a fairly light axe, and it's a fairly short axe, but yet it's heavier than what, like say, your Husqvarna small forest axe is a pretty light axe. This has got a little more oomph for it. I tend to use this one a lot. You know, it's a handy all-purpose axe. It's a good size and good strength. And I like this handle. You know, a lot of times on axes, when you get a handle, they'll have a big shoulder up here, big fat shoulder. It'll be real heavy here. That isn't good. You know, you really want it to taper down so that it's a really plug fit. You know, it fits on there tight. It doesn't shoulder up against it. It's a fit against the whole thing. What it does, it evens out the stress on the handle. You know, like otherwise if you have a big clunky piece there, it's going to want to break right by the head. This way it'll flex. The whole thing has got more give to it. I like that kind of fit. That is the right kind of fit. Not that big. You know, if you're just shouldering up against the piece, then you're not really making contact in here. It's got to be contact in here. That's where that long taper works much better. But like I say, I really like this axe. It's a very handy size. Very useful. So I want to make a special sheath for that. Same with, I've got an HB double bit. I want to make a sheath for that. And then there's an old Sater Baco that I want to make a sheath for. And the Collins saddle axe, you know, a cruiser, that smaller double bit with a short handle on. Those are the ones I want to work on, but that'll be another day. Rather a big project, but I'm going to set up to get that done. But now I can go and put the right buttons that I need on these for the suspenders. You know, my theory was I was always a little leery of the black ones because I thought they looked like they were like a polyester, but it isn't. It's that same cotton. But it's the BO1 that is made in USA. And there again, it's a deal where I never find them in stores. They always carry the Mexican-made stuff. Though, okay, I've said this before. I have no complaint about the stuff that's made in Mexico. All of the Carhartt stuff that I bought that has been made in Mexico, like these coveralls, it's perfectly fine. The quality is still there. So I don't really care, but I would have preferred that Carhartt stayed in the U.S. So as long as they're making these BO1s still in this country, you know, I will support them. I think that's all. Yep, well, must be all the horses are bored and they walked away. So that's the end of the show.